You can't afford to ignore the rise of AI-powered scams. Social engineering is evolving fast, and your company could be the target. Let's be honest, social engineering has always been about exploiting human trust. But now, artificial intelligence is making these attacks smarter, faster, and much harder to spot. Imagine getting an email that perfectly mimics your CEO's writing style, or a voice message that sounds just like a colleague asking for sensitive files. With AI, attackers can clone voices, forge messages, and scrape social media to create frighteningly convincing scams at scale. Phishing emails used to be laughable, full of typos and sketchy links. Not anymore. AI can write flawless messages, tailor-made for each victim, and even respond in real time if you reply. And it's not just emails. Deepfake videos and AI-generated calls can pressure employees into sharing confidential data or transferring funds before anyone realizes it's a scam. So, what can you do? First, don't rely on gut instinct alone. Educate your teams about these new tactics. Always double-check unusual requests, especially those involving money or sensitive info, through a separate channel. Use multi-factor authentication, keep your systems updated, and foster a culture where it's okay to question odd requests, even from the boss. AI is changing the game, but you can stay ahead by staying informed and vigilant.
Yeah, over to you, Grace Wright.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Zechariah. Hello, Zechariah, Imran. I'm not sure if Imran is on the call yet.
Yeah, I think it's probably correct. Let me see.
Okay. Well, that's totally fine. We'll just get started anyway, depending when he comes in. Well, good day, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're joining from. And welcome to another amazing Celsius Bit webinar that is held in honor of the Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Now, a lot of us already know that, October is a Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and we know that a lot of organizations are, organizing events, or organizing webinars, doing a lot of awareness when it comes to cybersecurity, because this is a topic that is as human as it's as technical. A lot of people look at cybersecurity as, oh, it's really technical. It's, a lot of ethical hacking. It's a lot of information security and the rest of it. But we need to also understand that it's pretty much human. So we're diving into the topic, guiding the human gateway, combating social engineering attacks. Because the truth is, honestly, the strongest firewalls cannot stop a story that is very well crafted or some email that is very convincing. And so the real defense starts with awareness, with us, communicating how cybersecurity works, how, conscious you should be when it comes to clicking on links that you're not aware of. And, that's exactly what this session is about. Now, we're joined with very amazing panel of experts who bring not just great wealth of experience in terms of decades, really, but a lot of insight, a lot of stories that would also keep you thinking pretty long up until when the session ends. Now, we have to also mention that in between the session, we're going to have a lot of interactions with the audience as well. So, I mean, if you'd like to turn on your video, that's totally fine when the time comes, of course. But yes, just to let you know that it's going to be a very interactive session. So keep yourself together and ensure that you're pretty ready to interact as much as possible with the session. Right, I will get right into the speakers' profiles. We have three major speakers with us today. One's with, like I mentioned earlier, great wealth of experience. We've got Zechariah Akimpel, we've got Imran as well, who's the Vice President at BNP Paribas. And we also have Olawumi Babalola as well. To begin with, I would read Olawumi's Olawumi's profile. Now, she's a cybersecurity leader. She's a CISO as well, and a mentor who's pretty much recognized among the top 25 most influential cybersecurity players in Africa, in the whole of Africa, not just in Nigeria, but in the whole of Africa also. And she's a principal advisor at the Bank of Canada. She champions human-centric security, which makes it just amazing that she's part of our panel here to talk about social engineering and how we can combat it as well. She's also pretty much into leadership development and empowering the next generation of cybersecurity professionals. And you know very well that we do not just bring anyone to the panel. We would typically bring in people who've got wealth of experience in terms of decades, and can also share as much insights as possible to contribute as much insight as possible to your experience as well. Now, we also have Imran, who is, as I mentioned earlier, the Vice President at BNP Paribas. He's a cybersecurity leader and a vice president as well. He brings tons of experience, extensive experience when it comes to enterprise security architecture, governance, and risk management as well. He's known for bridging that technical depth with executive strategy, helping institutions globally to stay as resilient as possible in any evolving threat landscape. Finally, we have Zechariah, who is the Chief Information Security Officer at Unity Bank PLC and the CEO at Celsiusbit as well. He's got over 15 years of cybersecurity leadership experience, and he's an award-winning executive, Forbes Technology Council manager, and a global voice when it comes to information security. He's pretty much, passionate as well about building very strong cyber defense across strategy, awareness, and innovation as well. So I would love you to please do a round of applause, react if you can, drop a text if you can, just to welcome our speakers. You're very welcome, Zechariah, Olawumi, Imran as well. Imran is not on the call yet, but yes, you're welcome, Olawumi and Zech. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you, Grace.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
Grace. Yeah, okay. Yes.
Wonderful. So I'm just, we have a number of questions, regularly asked questions that we're going to be asking you during this session, just to get people to properly understand what social engineering is and exactly how to combat it. But in your terms, to begin with, what would you say social engineering is? Especially if you are, because we have people in the informal sector here, we have people in the formal sector on the call as well. So would love you to explain to us in a formal, how you would explain to someone who's pretty much technical, and how you would explain to, say, your grandmother, for example, or your mother, or a woman who sells at the supermarket or at the market, please. Olawumi, would you like to go first?
You can check your mic, please.
So we cannot.
Yeah, sorry, I had to unmute. Before I start, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So before I start, I'd like to say that the views that I expressed today are my own, and they may differ from the official Bank of Canada views, and no responsibility, for them should be attributed to the bank. And also that the content is not related to the economic outlook or to the direction of monetary policy. All right, so having said that, to the question, and thank you, Grace, for the kind introduction. Now, when it comes to social engineering, it's as old as I can remember, right, in cyber, and that's because attacks are also as old as the security that we've always talked about. And so what attackers try to do is to go beyond the technology. And that's why you have the word social in front of the engineering, is the human aspect of hacking our security. So instead of going after the technology, instead of hacking, firewalls or routers, they go after the people. They try, in quotes, to hack the people and get the information information from them. So in a layman's language, I would like to give a scenario. So I've built a house and I have the best technology. I've installed the best door that money can buy in terms of security. I have my codes, my pins, and I've put in front of my house security guards, as well. And so, having done all of these, I'm hoping that I'm able to put bad actors, at bay, and to restrict them or stop them from gaining access to my house. And what social engineering will then do is these bad actors would find a way to befriend my security guard and say, hey, can I meet you over, for a drink, later in the evening, all bills on me. And then the guards, of course, begin to talk after maybe taking 2 bottles, and, they start asking questions about
Exactly.
the layout of the house, your
Yeah.
boss house is so fancy. I love it. I'd like to build something similar, And so what's the bedroom like? What's the living room like? And this poor guy, thinking he has found a friend, begins to talk about all of these things. And until he's able to give away the pin. And of course the bad actor comes,
Yes.
goes in, and is able to put in the pin and then gain access, thereby defeating all the technology gadgets that you've put in place. So simply put, that's social engineering. It is, the hacking of humans, to be able to access, those restricted information or data.
Right. Thank you so much. Thank you for allowing me. And that's why they say that prevention is better than cure. You have to ensure, in fact, trust nobody really, regardless of how close the person is to you. You have to ensure that, information, data that that person is not meant to have, they're not supposed to. They should not have it for whatever reason, regardless of how friendly they are trying to be, because that's exactly what you just explained. Someone bringing drinks to you, and then you had one bottle, you had another one, and then boom, you begin to spill all the data and all the pins and all of that. So yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot for that. Zach, would you like to walk us through your thought process on social engineering to begin with?
All right. Thank you, Grace. Thank you, Umi. I like that illustration, the very practical
Yeah.
illustration, and very, very good. Right? So, so
Mhm.
just like what Umi said, right? So to me, social engineering is a term that refers to the manipulation of people into giving up confidential information, performing action of breaking normal security procedure, often without them realizing it. So instead of attacking the system directly, social engineers attack human psychology. So they want to uh, attack your human psychology based on what you like, based on what you like. For example, if you like a bottle of drinks, for some people, before they will be so lively, they have to
Yeah.
put them in the mood, right? So
Mhm.
when they also want to attack your human psychology based on what you like, based on what you trust, based on what you
Right.
fear. And they also want to create that some form of urgency, curiosity, and also they want also to treat you based on the authority or based on
Mhm.
people or person that you respect. Like for example, if somebody posed to be your boss or to be your maybe line manager in a place of work, they want to mimic that person, and they want to succumb you into doing what you're not supposed to do on the normal good day. So
Right.
to me, it's a form of hacking. So on the humans instead of systems. So it's much more easier because it is human being that control the system. Whether you're leveraging on different technology, whether you have a multi-factor password. So the form of hacking, I would say hacking the human instead of the system. So if you can hack human, you can control the human to do whatever thing that you want the system to do for you. So they will have
Definitely.
they can use phishing, they can use smashing, they can use phishing. So we should they don't work. talk about shortly. So to me, I think it's a form of hacking of human than hacking the system, because if you can hack human, you can control the human to do what, to manipulate the system
Definitely.
to your own advantage, right?
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. So I have a very personal question to ask, and you would need to answer it. Have you ever at any point had to, because we're talking about social engineering, we'll also get into people clicking on links, people being sent certain links, oh, you've won this, or um, we're having a Apple product or an Apple product rather delivered to your doorstep. Please click on this link to confirm your order, all of those. We're going to talk about that. But you personally, whether at, some point at all, whether when you started, could have been when you started, your career in cybersecurity, could have been before then, could have been after then, but have you at any point fallen for what we're talking about today, social engineering attacks, or maybe an attempt? Might not have been an attack. It could be a phishing link, a message. It could be some suspicious LinkedIn DM as well with the link in it. But have you at any point fallen for such social engineering attack or attempt? If you
Uh,
can share with us, of course.
okay. So
Yeah.
I always say that no one is immune
Yeah.
to falling for these attacks, and
Yeah.
I think personally, a few years ago, I had a near miss with a WhatsApp takeover attempt. Sometimes when you're at work, you're conscious. And so when these phishing emails could be simulation comes, you're quick
Right.
to detect. But when you're back home, you're more relaxed, laid back, thinking about stuff outside of work. So
Mm-hmm.
this particular scenario, the scam at that time was pretty new, and which made it, of course, more convincing. I was part of a WhatsApp group where we had, discussed about a meeting that was to be
Right.
scheduled for later that day. And not long after the that discussion was held, I got a call from a number, and the caller said, "Oh, I'm calling about the group meeting that we have scheduled later, and so
Mm-hmm.
I want to send you a code so that you can use it to access, the on upcoming meeting." And in
Mm-hmm.
that moment, it sounded, possible. We had just discussed about a meeting, and here was someone saying that I'm sending you a code so that you can log in. And
Right.
timing was perfect, was right. But
Mm-hmm.
then for a split second, I was like, okay, wait a second. Why would I need a meeting code to be able to join a WhatsApp group meeting? And then because of my training, my security training, I understand that the code is talking about is the WhatsApp verification code. And because the code
Right.
actually, came up, the prompt came up on my screen, and I could see that was a WhatsApp
Mm.
verification code. And immediately I knew, okay, so they're trying to hijack my account. This was
Yes.
clever on their part, because what they did was to miss something that was normal, like, hey, we're calling to remind you of this meeting, with them using a security code, right? And this is how these scams work. They will take two things,
Yeah.
sometimes unrelated, and connect it so that you let your guard down. So, but thankfully, I didn't fall for it. I would say because of my
Mm-hmm.
experience at that time, and because I always when it comes to code, which is also based on experience, I know that you're not supposed to give code to people. Most times it's
Yes.
meant for application, right? So I called the guy out, and of course he was like, okay, so what? And then he hung up, and that was that. But the unfortunate thing is
Yeah.
that a lot of people actually fall, and they still continue
Yes.
to these types of scams,
Mm-hmm.
and the worst thing is that after they fall and their WhatsApp has been hijacked, then of course their friends and their contacts are then targeted, and so it keeps going on. So I always tell people, specifically to WhatsApp, turn on two-factor authentication, always verify, and then treat codes like, house keys. I love to give examples using houses because that's relatable. So you wouldn't hand your front key, front key to any stranger just because they say it's urgent, right? Or it's raining out there and things like that. So always be at alert.
Definitely. What year was this though?
It's been a while, maybe 6-7 years ago. I can't really put a finger on it now, but it's been a while back, yeah. But it's still happening, even up to this day.
Definitely. Yeah, so that just means to say that anybody can be targeted, really. If you were still targeted at 7 years ago, then definitely. And that particular process that you mentioned is one that happens a lot. A lot of older women, older men actually fall for it, and even the young ones as well. And then, this relative calls you and says, "Oh, I can't have access to my WhatsApp anymore." And then somebody calls you and says, "Ah, are you okay? You just requested 100,000 naira from me. What's going on with you?" So that definitely happens a lot, and it's just very unfortunate because there are a lot of awareness that goes out. Only this month, there's been a lot in markets, in schools, in fellowships, and there's a lot of cybersecurity awareness going on, but a lot of people still fall for these attempts and attacks. So why would you think that humans are still the easiest targets despite all of these awareness campaigns? Again, even in markets, you see people that work in cybersecurity go there and try to talk to them about cybersecurity and how they can secure, their data and themselves as a whole as well. But these things keep happening. Now, I'm not speaking to just those in the formal sector, as we mentioned earlier. We're speaking also to those in the informal sector because they're the ones who are even, really targeted, aside, the guys in the company as well. So why do you think that we humans are still the easiest targets when it comes to these attacks, despite all of the awareness campaigns? Zechariah, would you like to take that for us, please?
All right, so thank you, Grace. So to me, I think when it comes to the reason why I think that human is still the easiest way. So if you look at the normal slogan, they say that people are the weakest link, don't they? So the bad guys can only come into the weakest links. So and it is much more for you to hack into the system, you need to understand the nitty-gritty of the system, you need to understand the way the system works. Let's put that you want to hack into Linux operating system, you want to hack into Windows operating system, you need to understand the system very well. So it takes you a lot of the bad guy, a lot of effort and also a lot of skill set. So and to hack into a system, but people. So because people are the people, we are the people operating on the system. You're the administrator. You're the network administrator. It's much more easier if you rather maybe attack or maybe hack into that person. Or earlier on, I told you that social engineering is more like a people hacking. It's more like a human hacking than system hacking. So if you can manipulate the person behind the system, so you can get hold of the system. So to me, I still feel that and it's much more easier for you to use it easiest means. For example, if you can compromise somebody, either via email or via maybe via a call, like in the case of in the case of women, somebody call her and accent, and before the call, as the call was going, she was saying a kind of a prompt on our WhatsApp page to release the two-factor authentication and all of that. So assuming that she fall into that, so then that if hack her, they'll be able to take over our WhatsApp account. So it's much more difficult because WhatsApp have some encryption. You can't even WhatsApp call is always encrypted, and also for you to get hold of somebody's WhatsApp details, you need to have if the person enabled two-factor on his WhatsApp, you need to know that. You need to know the two. You need to be able to get the two-factor and also be able to get hold of the guy's device. To some that need to be able to hack that person. Maybe you need to hijack the person, or maybe take over the person, maybe by kidnapping the person and ask that person
Right.
to use my phone. And also, so to me, it takes a lot of effort for the bad guys to hack the system without that. But if they can hack these people, they can easily get over the system. So many of us
Yes.
have different form of that nobody is immune to social engineering. So whether you like it or not, people will make several attempts. Like almost every day, you see people wanting to make
Mm-hmm.
an attempt to hack into your, whether your PayPal account, whether into your personal account. I think some
Yeah.
last week I got a kind of a notification from my PayPal that okay, it's like somebody's trying to probably, it's very easy for somebody to know your email, probably an email associated to your
Yes.
PayPal. So I got a notification that okay, like a two-factor authentication to change my password. But luckily for me, I've already enabled the multi-factor nobody can, but assuming that that person has my maybe contact, maybe my mobile phone, probably will have used or
Yeah.
sent a phishing email, will have called me up and also tried to pretend as if he or she is a customer support from PayPal to ask for that two-factor, but they did not have that kind of information. Probably they have, even they have that kind of information. Trust me, if somebody called me that okay, can you please tell me your no, definitely I will know that okay, because of the virtue of my training and but because of the role that I've also played a
Mm.
lot of roles and all that. Yeah, so every now and then, just to tell you that nobody's immune. Just imagine
Yeah.
somebody trying to hack into my paper, uh, but it was an attempt. So it would be much more easier if somebody can manipulate somebody to give his or her
Right.
personal space and then for you to hack into the system, right? Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. You're absolutely right. These things are just it's just too rampant. You get emails, you get phone calls, those in particular, and that's because you're very experienced. That's because you already know that these are the tactics, which we're still going to talk about, just so that people know how, these people operate, or at least the current way they operate, because constantly they tend to update their strategies, their methodologies, if we can use that as well. So, Olawumi, you mentioned earlier that, someone that called you after you had a meeting and then you were supposed to have another meeting, and then the person sent you or was requesting for that code. Now, in the case of, say, for example, an organization, this happens a lot. You and an organization, you get an email from, say, your CEO, or it could even be from the HR, and it could be them requesting that you probably fill out a form, say a compliance form, for example, for your department, if you're a team lead or even as a team member. What thought process do you think would help that employee to detect the scam before clicking it? Because a lot of employees, just because it's from somebody you trust or from a higher authority, you don't want to question it. They're requesting for a particular detail or a password, or maybe the IT department is asking you to change your password because it's been compromised. Those sort of emails. How do you think what thought process do you think could help that employee to overcome that and ensure that they are not clicking on that link to then get the entire company compromised in most cases?
Thank you for this question. I love it because it gets right to the heart of
Mm,
how we should actually train our brains to respond to this kind of attacks. But
yeah.
before I delve into that question, just to speak to the last question that Zachariah, spoke to extensively, and that's to say that trust is one of the reasons why humans are easy targets, right? A lot of times, social engineering, exploits human trust, right? So by nature and naturally, we implicitly trust others, somebody tells me that they need help, I don't start questioning the motive, right? I want to help them. I want to provide them the information, and I'm not outrightly thinking, oh, this person is out there to scam me or to hurt me. And so they take advantage of that human trust and to exploit or to humans as well. So I just wanted to add that to that question. And now to this one on a thought process that could help an employee detect the scam, before clicking. So one thing that I would, always advise is that people pause and verify. They're non-technical, and from my experience, they're incredibly effective. So the first thing is always pause. Don't be in a hurry to respond or to click. One thing that these bad actors, these scammers, always do is to throw in a sense of urgency. If you don't do this now, everyone is going to crash, right? So always pause, just even if it's just for a second, because they want to take advantage of you reacting so fast, and they throw in some emotions, some urgency. If you don't do this now, your account will be locked. Like the PayPal example that Zachariah cited, that's a very common one. Or they tell you that your WhatsApp account, so your Facebook account, is going to be locked if you don't do this, or your bank account. So there's always like, do this now or otherwise there is a violation, and they do that to trigger panic, and when people are in panic mode, they don't think, they don't rationalize, they just act. And so that's why I always advise that always pause. When something feels not normal, if it feels rushed, or it's just that tiny sense of this is off, it's just a cue for you to take a breath, to step back, and to just begin to ask yourself some questions. Is this a scam, or is this true? And the next natural step after that is to verify. If it doesn't feel right to you, always do that second level verification. It could be a phone call. You've gotten an email from a colleague, pick up your phone and call that person. Or I've gotten a WhatsApp message, a friend asking me for 100,000 or 200,000, something that's never happened before, or something I would not expect from that particular friend. And the natural thing would be for me to verify, call the person, send the person an email. Now, another thing that I advise people to always do is to use a different channel to verify. So, for example, if I get a WhatsApp message saying, hey, I'm stranded, I need 200,000, it would not be wise if I respond to that message to say, is this really you? Can you show your video? Because these days, because of the fake, even that is not a very, very, very
Exactly.
foolproof.
I was going
Yeah.
to talk about
So
that as well. Yeah.
yeah, so you must find a different channel of verification. So it could be using somebody's number to reach this person and actually hear that person talk, right? Or using another number to call the person. So just make sure that before you send that money out, or before you click on that approve button, or approve that transaction, always verify. Or even if it's in the office, walk to the person's office and ask the questions. The office is not, the person is not available, go to the next most senior person. Just make sure that you do all the due diligence before you click on that button. So 9 out of 10, if you do these two things, you find out that you're able to push, back, to repel that attack, that hacking attempt.
Yeah, No, you're definitely right. Deepfake is something that, I mean, cyber criminals just pick up artificial intelligence and try to clone someone else's voice. Like you mentioned, it could be your bosses, it could be your colleagues, it could be even a family member. Actually, imagine hearing my cousin's voice on the phone and saying, "Oh, sorry, I urgently need this." Of course, you're tempted to, "Oh, okay, well, let me send you the money. Send me your account number in the case where the person doesn't already have it." So these things happen a lot. And I love that point that you made about using a different means to try to verify if that person is the person who had called you earlier or they're not. And even if they still confirm via WhatsApp because their phone numbers might have been compromised as well, you definitely want to go on to asking if they can do a video call for you to confirm that it's actually them. So of course this is something that needs to be properly looked into as well. Now, I would move on to the next question. Now, imagine the informal sector. We just touched on the formal sector. Say a very small tailor or say a market woman who uses WhatsApp business. Now, what form of social engineering do you think might attack her? I know we've talked about a few, but are there any other social engineering techniques that might be used to target her? And how would you advise that she protects herself from it? Now, in the technical space, we have tons of tools that you can use to protect yourself. But for a market woman, someone who knows absolutely nothing about technology, aside picking up a phone to call her children and maybe sending a text message as well, or using the calculator, excuse me, or using the calculator on her phone. So how would you say she can protect herself from that attempt or that attack, and what sort of attempt or attack can be used to target her? Zachariah, if you would, please.
All right, thank you, Grace. So to me, for somebody in the informal sector, so what I would advise them that they should never click on any link
Mm.
from any unknown uh, numbers or any unknown emails. And I also encourage them to use as two factor authentication, actually on their WhatsApp. They can this thing. You don't need to be technical. Just go to your WhatsApp settings, and if you
Mm-hmm.
can, if you have your Instagram page, you have your Facebook page, you can go to the settings. You can go to the privacy settings, or you go to the security settings, and you can enable the
Yes.
two-factor authentication, because today it's very much easier to hack into somebody's username and password, no matter the length. If you like, let your password be 100 character, strong, or somebody can easily, but use different means, maybe through through other social engineering attack like phishing, like
Mm-hmm.
you leveraging on the people that you trust. They can leverage on deep face technology. Just imagine somebody use deepfake technology to reach out to you, and the voice that you're hearing is the voice of your family member or the voice of your life manager, and that the person asks
Yeah.
you for certain information.
Mm-hmm.
You might easily fall into that. So then I also encourage that people should confirm directly before sending
Mm.
anything that is very personal. Maybe before they send their details, before they send their bank account, or before they do any stuff. Then they should
Yeah.
not always be in order. I think we mentioned about the different process that you can leverage on. If somebody
Yeah.
reach out to you and there's this form of urgency, first and foremost, pause, take a deep, take a deep breath, and
Mm-hmm.
before you react, because if you pause a little bit, you'll be able to know that, okay, why is this person rushing me? If it's really important, you can wait for a few minutes and all of that, So then
Mm,
people should always think before they act. So, for example, if somebody reach out to you and maybe via a text message or via a call, first and foremost, you need to be spontaneous and be able to think, okay, are you really expecting this kind of a message? and also need to listen carefully. But today it's very difficult for you to even if somebody send you a phishing email, for you to even know whether it's not gonna do this. You can easily check if there's some grammatical mistake. But with the advent of artificial intelligence, you cannot really deduce that. But when it comes to certain unusual requests like payment, password, personal information,
Yes.
that's when you should be able to send that. Okay, nobody, no organization will ask for your personal information, be asking for your password, be asking for your when it comes to payment and all of that. You need to be able to think of if there's another means of confirming whether the actually when it comes to thinking. I think that was the time, I think I mentioned it. That was a time, I think about a few months ago, and my wife reached out to me on WhatsApp, and it was unusual of her. It has to do with money, you know. I was like, so I just because I realized that okay, this I have to make sure that I reach out to her first. I don't want to trust the WhatsApp message because I was thinking that maybe could even that WhatsApp has been taken over, and if you need something like this, I believe we should also have discussed this. But that's on a lighter note. But because me, I'm being overprotective for my
Yeah.
money, and I reach out to her via call. That you the one.
Yeah.
First of all, I asked her, "Is your phone with you?" She said yes. And I asked, "Are you the one chatting with me?" Okay. She now confirmed that she was actually the one. Okay, before I proceed with the transaction, even though it wasn't a fish, it wasn't a somebody was just trying to social engineer me, but I was being over conscious. So it's always good
Yeah.
for you to take extra caution. It's better for you to verify and make sure that from the messages. So I think we should let people know that they should always analyze any kind of, especially when it comes to payment, password, personal info. Somebody asking for your social security number, you might be asking, like in the North America, it is very rampant. Somebody will
Yeah.
reach out to you. You've not started, they've not given you an employment. They'll be asking for your social security details and all of that. And that should be very, very careful. And you also need to confirm at this time, women said that. And if it is too true, maybe somebody just answered that they want to do some wire transfer, or you want to do some business transaction, that can just fetch you just easy money without any. You should always be very careful because you leverage on the people psychology, maybe the people economical situations, maybe
Right.
everybody wants big money, everybody wants even if you travel, if I book a flight, if I book a normal flight, economic flight, if an airline call me that they want to upgrade me to business or first class at a very little stuff. Everybody likes that, right? But
Yeah.
if the payment is too, I need to verify first to be sure that okay, the airline that is calling out to me to upgrade my flight details and all of that. So I think these cautions of the don't be in a rush whenever you actually got some emails, verify through another channel. So don't use the same channel. It's possible that somebody emails have been compromised. For example, somebody will receive an email, maybe from a close one, that okay, they're asking for a favor, or you receive a message from a close one. It has happened to one of my close ones, like the person's like a sister to me. At the point in time, her Instagram and her Facebook was compromised. And it was unlike of her, she was asking for financial favor, and this is the person that I know very well
Right.
that she won't be acting that in that way. I use another means. I reached out to her personally on the call on the phone, and she told me that they just took over her Instagram page and her Facebook account. So, but we're able to retrieve the Facebook, sorry, the
Exactly.
Instagram page and all of that.
Yeah.
But the Facebook, because she didn't act on time, the person have already changed her email address. She lost the Facebook account up to today, right? So those are the kind of things you
Oh
need to let
wow.
people know. Enable multi-factor, enable the verify. If somebody reach out to you via call, crap channel, don't anything that is too good to be true. Need to be very careful and very cautious. Yeah.
Definitely. You're absolutely right. Again, these are things that just happen quite a lot. The Olawumi and yourself had talked about you pausing, everybody pausing once you get a link like that, or you get a message, or you get a call, or could be a voice call as well. Any of those, you have to take a pause and ensure that you're thinking straight and ensure that you're checking again to be sure that it's from the person intended. And even if it is, you have to still verify, try to put the person on a hold or tell them you call them back. Speaking of, I was a part of a very small social engineering simulation exercise some time ago, and it was really funny because we had put a call across to one of the people in the company, and we had spoken as though we were from Microsoft, and we're trying to help with their IT generally. And then we had asked for some code, and some people gave us the codes, while there was this particular lady who instantly she's like, no, I don't think that's okay. And we're like, no, it's fine. I mean, we're trying to help you to do this and do that. We gave all the information that we needed to give. And we also, Zechariah, you had mentioned earlier that it's pretty easy for people to get, our email addresses, because you might have put it up in it's on your resume, maybe you sent it somewhere, or it's on your LinkedIn, or, it's on your Instagram, or it's anywhere. We had told the person, oh, are you this? We mentioned the person's full name, and then we also mentioned her email address, and then we also mentioned her address because we had it at the time. And I just love how she responded, and she was like, oh, can I give you a call back? And we said, I mean, it's pretty urgent, we need to do this right now, which also speaks to the part where Olawumi had said that they would want the message would put up some font of urgency so that you can respond as soon as possible, in fact immediately. So she had said she was going to call us back. We told her to stay on the call. We needed to get that information at that point in time, but she insisted that she was going to call back. And guess what? Next thing, we got an email from the Information Security Office asking who so person is in that department. And everybody just started laughing, like, okay, well, this is, this is very smart. And that brings me to my very next question: authority. There are tons of scammers who tend to pretend as CEOs, as senior executives. So imagine me pretending as a Microsoft senior executive, or even the CEO of that company, and then I'm requesting a very urgent data or a code or a payment from one of my employees. How would you recommend that organizations sort of make people feel more comfortable? Because that lady at that time, imagine that she wasn't too comfortable with calling whoever she had called or sending whatever mail she had sent to that, information security department. Imagine she wasn't that comfortable to do that. And then she just felt like, oh, it's from them. Of course, it's fine for me to, release whatever information. And then she sends it. So how would you recommend that organizations help their employees to feel comfortable, to feel safe verifying information, even if it means questioning authority? Because, of course, if you're calling, say, the CISO, for example, you're calling someone in the information security department to ask such questions like, who is calling me, or who in the department is asking me for this, or a Sarah called me for this, and that. So, without them having to feel like they're questioning authority, how would you recommend that organizations sort of make their employees or people feel more comfortable in that space, especially in situations like that?
Okay, so I'll take this one. And thank
Okay.
you. It's a great question and a
Mm,
very important one, because to be honest, you can have all the tools, the best ones, put
yeah.
in place firewalls, policies, and if your people don't feel safe enough to pause and to question something that looks suspicious, then everything is could fall apart at any point in time. So I know we've said always verify, right? And that's
Mm-hmm.
easy to say. But if an employee is sitting there thinking, if I call the CEO, or if I call the chairman, or if I call my CTO to double check this, I might get in trouble, or am I looking competent? Guess what they'll do? They'll
Mm-hmm.
just click send, and that's it. So the only way to really fix this is to sort of flip that script. So from a situation of don't question the box to it's your job to question the process. And that shifts the old culture, right? And it can only happen with leadership tone, right? And the way the leadership tone influences the organization's culture. So, one thing I always say is that leadership, they must approve of verification and not speed. That must be their tone. So if the CEO says or senior leader says, if you ever get a message from me asking for money or data, please verify it. I would never be offended. That changes a lot. It gives people the confidence, to be able to question or to ask questions, right? And when somebody flags a suspicious email, the CEO talks about it in a positive way and talks about it as a win, that also influences, the culture. Another thing that helps is where a no blame or a no consequence environment is engendered. So you don't punish people when they make mistakes, because if you do, the next time somebody clicks on a link, that person is going to keep it to him or herself, right? Instead of upfronting it, and then being able to avert or at least to minimize the impact. So you want to encourage people to upfront issues, right? You want to encourage people to come up if they've goofed, if they've made mistakes, let them come up in a safe and way. Then also make it very easy for them to report. Right. Don't layer process upon process when it comes to reporting. Let it
program
be
just
very,
failed an
very
audit again,
easy,
and you're the one explaining.
right? Something like clicking a button to just report a fish, rather than having to do 2 or 3 things before they do that. If it's easy for them to do, then they probably would do that. So if these 3 things I think are in place, it helps to create that culture and to embed it in whatever the organization is, and people are able to just make the right decisions and do the right thing in those type of circumstances.
Right. So this is for what they need to do, what the organizations need to do to ensure that people feel very comfortable and have a very seamless process to go through when they want to report a fish. Now the question would be, what do you think would be the repercussion for when they don't report this? Now we know that a lot of things could happen. You click on the link, people might have access. They might take over your email, for example, or could be your WhatsApp, or could be your Teams, for example. It could be anything. And then also you could click on that link, and then you might have just welcomed a malware into the entire organization system as well. So what would you say would be or could be the repercussion, so that people know that, okay, if I don't do this, this is what could possibly happen? I'll just allow you say that. I do have an example though, but I would allow you speak first. What do you think is the repercussion?
You want me to take that, or Zachariah?
Oh, Zach, you can if you
Okay.
want to.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Umi. I think so. I've said right. So we also, in as much as there should be like kind of consequence for every action. So we should not we should also be very careful so that the consequence will not make people to be so fearful to do a certain way. So what I can say in my organization or in the very places I've worked with, what I normally do, I always ensure that there's a form of policy, and the policy that information security policy, and also what actually there's some tenet that you need to observe before you be onboarded to the organization, like password management policy, how you can take care of a password. And I also encourage people not to share the password to anybody, and also ensure that they have some information security awareness information security awareness session, training session that explain the different tactics of social engineering, and also let them know that whenever they fall into social engineering, that will be their sole responsibility. For example, if you allow your organization to be hacking to maybe through your official email. For example, there's some habit that I've found out in different places I've worked with that have made. For example, the use of organizational email for your social media is very wrong. I don't want to control that. And also for you using your organization email for your personal use, maybe to register on a merchant website and all of that. Those are the things that we found out. We monitor that, and also whenever we see people that are defaulted, we first of all send like kind of a form of a warning email that they should refrain from that. And if the first warning, second warning, but the third warning, they will need to impose like kind of a factor based on the human resources policy and all of that. But it will force it to be for most of the time, definitely by the time let's presume that when we are doing some monitoring, maybe searching through because we have different platforms that can be used to monitor people that use their maybe organization in different places. Whenever we discover that, we reach out to them maybe from the information security office that they release what we discovered, and so trust me, whenever they receive such email, they always make sure that they abide by the organizational rules and policies. Then for the phishing email, we normally do phishing simulation. If you are defaulted during the phishing, we will not be persecuted, but you'll be forced to do another phishing email, especially in that area where you defaulted. We do that on a regular basis, so that with that they will also know that they have their roles and responsibility when it comes to preventing against social engineering attack. Also, then we also embed the information security awareness session. The level of the awareness is part of their appraisal. So, and that can be we can determine the level of awareness whenever we do phishing simulation or whenever we do a social engineering simulation. We see the level of if you pass all this phishing simulation and you did not fall prey heavily, you're gonna have the 100% for that mark that's been attached to that performance management system. The mark is not so high, but you now know that performance management 3 mark, 1 mark can deprive you of maybe of your next promotion, and if case nothing, and nobody want to because we partner with human resources and to ensure that people are well aware so that we can increase the level of the awareness. So what we are talking about, guiding the human gateway. So now that we are enabling the like kind of a human firewall, so that if people are much more aware of their roles and responsibility, they will not fall into prey. But we attach it to the level of awareness. It's been attached to the kind of to the performance management system kind of, right? So that's what we do. And it has been working for me in different organizations I work with, right? Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. I think that's an amazing idea. I think it's really amazing because you thinking of you knowing very well that if you fail this 3 times, it affects maybe your promotion or some process that would get you to grow in your career. You definitely want to be very, very careful. And it's a preventive measure, which makes a whole lot of sense. Thank you very much. I have to take a quick break to communicate to the people in the room, the audience, our participants. Please, if you have any questions whatsoever, don't forget to drop it in the comment section. We will be taking that as soon as possible. Any questions whatsoever for whether Zachariah or Olawumi, or if you'd rather any of them answers it, please just drop that in the comment section. Now, we would also like to bring this a bit closer to home. Would like to bring in 1 or 2 people. Of course, if you're willing to come on stage as well, we would want you to tell us something that probably has happened in your organization. Just share your experience with us. Zachariah had mentioned a number of things, told us what has happened. Olawumi had also told us her experiences. She has shared tons of insights, but we also want to hear from the audience. Have you at any point, had to have you at any point been phished as well or social engineered? So it could be in your organization, it could be in your home, it could be through a family member's phone, or maybe your family group chats. That one happens a lot. Or it could be something that happened to your mom or your grandfather or grandmother or friend as well. Please would definitely love to hear from you, where someone tried to socially engineer you or that person who is close to you, or maybe they actually social engineered you. Please, would like to hear your experiences as well. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to share their experience with us? You can just send a message in the chat area, and we would send you a link to join the stage. If you don't mind showing your face to us. Anyone in the audience?
Hi,
Wonderful.
good
Chill.
day.
Great, great. Thank
Hi,
you.
good
Thank you
day.
so
Can you
much,
hear
Chill, for
me?
joining. Yes, yes, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay,
So
wonderful.
basically, um,
Great.
I'm not going to talk about my organization. I'm going to talk about my personal experience. There was one day somebody
Definitely.
just called me and like, oh, your bank has issue, your ATM is bad, so you need to fix that now. So can you give me your ATM details? And I'm like, oh, let's play along this game. I know how it goes. So what do you want? He said, you need to give me the numbers on the card, the PAN, you have to give me the expiring date. I said, okay, no problem. We go. So I did as if I could not hear him for a while. He called
Hmm.
back and he was like, you need to be very fast with this thing. So one thing they do is that they want you to make decision very urgent. They just
Yeah.
want to be they just want to be there. Boom, they're off the stage. They've done what they wanted to do. You cannot track
Yeah.
them. They can disable um the SIM card, disable their phones, just not to be reachable,
They
right?
basically don't
So,
want you to even have a second to think at all. Yeah.
right.
Mm.
So the guy just said, "Oh," I said, "Okay, no problem." I said, I called my, yeah, of course, a fake pan, and I said 419. It was like, "Oh, this thing is quite longer than what it should be," and I'm like, "Oh, it's my ATM card, not your ATM card. I can decide how I really look like." And the guy was like, "Oh," and one thing again is that once they do not get what they want, they're going to trigger you. The guy just started like cussing, started to change the topics. And I'm like, oh, okay, let's see how it goes from here. And that was it. So I could not call him back. I could not reach out to him. So basically, the guy will block you off.
Yeah.
We just don't want to communicate. And the same
Mm.
way, um, the same experience I had with WhatsApp. They're just going to call you that you have a meeting from nowhere, and then they're going to give you a very valid group that you are in, and you
Yeah.
feel like, yeah, okay, maybe the admin is reaching out to you, and all of a sudden you're just going to see a pop up. The moment, I think I need to say shout out to WhatsApp for that security feature that we have to get
Mm.
the code in app. So because sometimes your phone, your SIM can be somewhere else, but because you have to get it in app,
Yeah.
makes it difficult for people to be able to have access to the pin, right? Yeah, that's my overview
Right.
from there.
Amazing. Did you hear when Olawumi was talking about almost the exact same thing that you talked about with the meeting, where the person then called and
Right?
talked
Yeah,
about a
yeah,
meeting and asked us to
exactly.
send a code? You heard that? Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Sheil, for joining us. We really appreciate it, and thank you for turning on your videos. A
Thank
lot of
you.
people might not,
Thank you, no
feel
problem.
comfortable doing that. So thank you so much. Could you just briefly, tell us about yourself, your name, and what you do? Just so that we know who you are. Is that okay?
That's fine. Okay, my name is Shinwa Diwali, and I also work with SuccessBit
Mm-hmm.
as a pension tester, and I also teach people cybersecurity, where you have to learn right from the basics, from networking to various parts of cybersecurity, but we focus more on the technical part. Just like
Right.
my boss here, Mr. Zach, so you just have to learn from the good ends, right? So that's what I do basically.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Shil. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone
Thank
else in
you.
the audience who would like to come on board to share their experience with us? Thank you again, Shil. We really appreciate you. Thank you. Thanks for doing that. Anyone? Okay. Well, while we're waiting on that, I'm not sure if we can even still take that during the session, but yes, I would just want Olawumi, please, if you could take this, if you could answer this question. Now, policies, we've talked a lot about policies, we've talked a lot about trainings, we've talked about leadership attitude as well, which would be what Zechariah mentioned earlier, you making them feel comfortable, attaching those activities, those simulations to their performance, all of those. So policies, trainings, the attitude or the countenance, could be countenance as well, of the leaders. How would you say that, from your experiences, or better still, what would be that blind spot when it comes to organizations, when it comes to defending against social engineering? Which of those three that I mentioned would you call a blind spot for organizations? So do they not focus so much on policies, or is it the attitude of the leaders themselves that they don't focus on, or is it trainings? I understand that a lot of organizations are very security conscious now, and they tend to cover those three. But, on an average, which would you say is the blind spot for most organizations?
So I would say to answer your question directly, I would say it's the people. And it is the people because a lot of organizations treat social engineering like a technology problem, right? They invest heavily on technology, different filters, multi-factor authentication, firewalls, VPN. And don't get me wrong, these are very important and they must be in place. But a lot of times the real weakness, it's not the system, it's the human, the behavior.
Yes.
It's a behavioral
Yes.
issue, right? And that's why we say that humans are the weakest link. And because social engineering don't hack technology, it hacks people, it hacks people's trust. And that's where a lot of organizations miss the mark. When they are hyper focused on the technology or the process part of it and they forget the people, they leave the people behind. They don't talk about culture. They're not embedding simple, easy things to do in the organization's security culture. Like there are some basic cyber hygiene. For example, Zachariah mentioned a lot of them, like keeping your passwords, not reusing passwords, your official passwords for your social platforms and things like that. So ensuring that your people know and understand and letting them know the implication as well. So if something goes wrong, what could be the implication for the organization or for the person as well? So all of these things are very important. And another thing that I've spoken about this before, but I'm going to say it again because to me, I think it's very important. And I've seen that play out, in different places. It's the tone from the top. Right. The tone from the top is very, very important in building that culture, in ensuring that it's not just about technology, but that the people as well are as well carried along, that they know the risk and that they're able to identify the risk and they know how to respond to the risk. For example, when they see a phishing email or they receive a phishing call, they know what to do immediately. Like the example you cited, that employee that is questioning and then apparently, went to log it or report it internally, and you got that email. So that is an example of an employee that's been taught and that understands the process of how to respond to an email. So so it's very important that we create that culture of an awareness. People are aware and people, know what to say. And I say it again that, yeah, consequences are important, but you have to manage it, because sometimes you don't want to create a culture of fear based on consequences. That way, it will lead to people hiding stuff and keeping things to themselves. That if they had upfronted, would have helped minimize, the impact, because you probably would have responded, immediately. So just finding that balance. Yeah, and I agree with Zach as well. You don't also want to allow people to do whatever they want to do, right? So it's finding a balance between reward and consequences. So that's what I would say on that.
Right. Thank you so much, Olawumi, for adding to that. Now, you talked about fear, but I'm going to talk about that from a different perspective. A lot of people look at those of us who work in cybersecurity as being very paranoid, and we're too extra and we're too conscious. It's like you probably want to get some money at the ATM and you have to like look behind you and be sure that no one is looking at you, or you're trying to input your PIN on your phone while trying to make a transfer, and you're just looking around to ensure that no one is actually looking at your screen at that point in time. Now, how do we then create this balance between promoting security awareness in the minds of people and creating, or rather without creating, that culture where people are overly scared or paranoid, because that happens a lot. Now, it's absolutely okay that we're overly conscious, because that has saved a lot of people from a lot of scams and social engineering attempts and even attacks as well. But there has to be some sort of balance. So as leaders, you're leaders in your industry, how would you create that balance between promoting awareness, security awareness, without creating that paranoia or fear in the minds of people? Zechariah, if you'd like to take that, and maybe allow me also contribute to it before we close out the session.
All right, thank you, Grace. I think as a leader, you need to. Nobody's. I think from the Umi Hela's message that nobody is prone to social engineering. So at the
Right.
point in time, even as professionals we are, at the point in time I've had a lot of near miss situation. But throughout my professional careers, right? So I think we
It's the way
should.
you were saying it for music.
So I have different near miss situations, and so
Yeah.
imagine somebody reaching out to you, maybe you telling you that he has been phished. Maybe the person that is asking you that he has been phished was a social engineering attacker. I've seen a lot of stuff, right? So I think what we can do as leader to let people, we should let the communication line be open. That yes, it's fine if you follow that attack. Maybe if probably you click on a link that you are not supposed to click. So if you can make the communication line to be open, like allow them to send you an email, maybe an email that, okay, you know what, they've actually clicked on the link, and they do want to know the consequences of the stuff, so that at least if you allow people. But imagine if somebody click on a phishing email that take them to a malware website, and the organization get infected, and nobody reports that, and as a cybersecurity professional, it will take you a while before you'll be able to nail it down which of the system is infected, and also that somebody's system can be infected, the person can deny that did not click on. But if you know the exact channel where the malware attack comes into place, you'll be able to quickly build a countermeasure, appropriate countermeasure. You not waste time. You'll be able to nail it down immediately. So I think we can do that. We can put that in place, and also we should also create a kind of putting a control in place. Whether you like it or not, people will click. People would because throughout the phishing, I do phishing simulation at least 4 times or 3 times in a year. At times, there was a time that I did a phishing simulation in one of the organizations I work with. I will not reveal the organization anyway. I work with several organizations.
Yeah.
My boss, then I was reporting to, I want to mention the person, the title of the person. My boss actually clicked on the February into that, and so it was after it clicked that my boss reached out to me that, Zach, why are you doing this to me? And then to be honest with you, because we were able to create the simulation based on what the organization was about, that was the point in time that the organization was about to increase the cost of living adjustment, or to increase the salary and all of that. We used that, and lo and behold, even people from the HR, quite a number of people from the HR fell to that phishing simulation.
I think a lot of people tend to fall for that particular
Yeah.
simulation.
So, but if you create a
Yeah.
kind of a sense of maybe a sense of fear that if you click, you'll be crucified, definitely people will not let you know that they clicked, and also you'll not be able to. It will make your investigation to be much more delayed, your forensic to be much more delayed. But if you know where data comes from, you can easily plug in. And then what another thing that you can do, get a very good, reliable anti-malware. Not even the word has gone beyond anti-malware. Get an EDR, extended detection and response in place. I'm going a little bit technical as a cybersecurity leader. Get a very good managed detection and response that if at all people click on the wrong link, they will not be infected. And also make sure that you also leverage on AI in your arsenal of your detections tool, because a lot of today is very easy for a cyber criminal to create a malware that has not that doesn't exist. It doesn't take you. It just doesn't take them as much time and effort like before. They can generate a malware today that has never been in any anti-malware definition. But if you have a very robust system, ecosystem in place, and that would guide against maybe anybody that click on the wrong link, or also have a very robust anti-phishing system. Also have make sure that you have a robust email security system in place, that a system that can detect a spam mail or phishing email, and also categorize them, and also quarantine those emails so that people will not see the email. For example, if somebody is being sent a phishing email and the email is being quarantined, you do not get to see it. So you're not even, the temptation of clicking will not be there in the first place. Right. So, and I think that's what we can do to create a balance, or to let people know that it's okay if they click, but the issue that they should report immediately as soon as or if they sense any form of phishing, whether they click or not, they should report immediately to the right channel so that appropriate action can be taken on that. Right. So that's that. Yeah. Thank you.
And that was what we also talked about earlier. While you're reporting, tons of people might feel like, oh, because this person is a CISO, or because they're a CTO or a CBO, I can't call them to, let them know that, oh, this just happened. But again, as we mentioned earlier, organizations and leaders in organizations need to make their employees feel safe to walk up to them or to put a call through and, confirm such attempts or links or emails or messages or requests as well. So thank you very much, Zechariah. Olawumi, do you have any closing statements, page for us, maybe contribution as well to the previous question that Zechariah took to?
Thank you, Grace. I think Zachariah handled that very well. But just to have that, you can't scare people into being secure, right? If you use or put in place a culture of fear, you're going to find yourself in a situation where you'll get the opposite of what you intend for. Even in our personal lives, take children, for example. When they operate in an atmosphere or a condition of fear, they tend to lie, and because they don't want to face consequences for their actions. But when you allow them to fail securely or to fail forward, it helps them, in always, saying the truth. And it's the same. Humans are human, whether at home or in the office. So you have to create that culture where they have confidence, to act when something goes wrong, and they're not afraid, of being of punitive, consequences. So yes, create a culture that encourages people, to upfront issues, always. And I think another thing that will add is that you have to use a mix of technology, people, and process,
Yeah.
to address this issue as well. So it's not just the people. You must have the right technology in place. You must have the right process in place as well. And making sure that these three things work in a cohesive and in synergy, such that you get the kind of the kind of response that you want, or from the entire process.
Mm. Great. Thank you very much, Olawumi. That's amazing. And I have to appreciate you, Zechariah and Olawumi. This has been such an amazing session, a very powerful one as well, with your answers to our questions, your insights, the very practical ones, your experiences as well, and then your perspective. Thank you so much. You have been able to break down what social engineering is, how social engineers think, how people should react and respond to it, whether you're in the informal sector or you're in the formal sector. And the fact that trust rather can also be, it could be a great asset, I would say, and it could also be a very great weakness or vulnerability in organizations and even in us as individuals as well. So we need to ensure that cybersecurity is at the core of our hearts. And I absolutely love this message, really, because while technology can protect us, that awareness for humans, for individuals, for teams, groups, and even organizations as well is very, very important, and can, truly empower individuals and organizations as well. So, to the audience, we want to also say thank you. To Shell in particular, thank you for coming on board to also share your experience. We really appreciate you, and we hope that, you are also open to doing that in future webinars, in the case where we would require that, someone in the audience comes on board to share their experiences with us. Now, to everyone in the room, thank you as well for taking your time to join us and staying with us through to this moment. So whether you're in tech or you're in business, or you're, even part of the informal sector, you would agree with me that we've also touched a lot on that sector, not just the formal sector. We have to always remember that we as humans are that firewall. We need to be a firewall as well. We need to be cautious when we're clicking. We need to be very aware of our environments, very aware of messages that come in, and ensure that we're making a difference in our organizations, in our businesses, and in our own lives as well, because it's your data, it's your life. Okay, so you need to guide it as much as possible. Now, I want to say that on behalf of Celsius Bit, thank you to everyone for joining in. Thank you for engaging. Shil and every other person as well. Thank you for bringing that energy into this Cybersecurity Awareness Month session. And we would love to appreciate you over and over again. I would love to also say that please, as much as you can, try to stay cautious, try to stay alert, and ensure that you're safeguarding yourself, you're safeguarding people around you, you're safeguarding your business, you're safeguarding your friends, you're safeguarding your environment as well. So thank you once again, Zechariah. Thank you so much, Olawumi. It was a pleasure moderating this session, having you as my speakers. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you. Again, my name is Grace Brown, and it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Zech and Olawumi again.
Thank
And
you,
have a wonderful
Grace.
rest of the
Thank
day.
you,
Yeah,
everybody.
thank you, Grace. Bye, everyone.
All
Yes.
right.
Bye.